Welcome to Model Kit Stuff. My name is Jason and this is the build introduction video for the Revell 1:400 scale Queen Mary II ocean liner. So this is going to be a build series that I hope to be unlike any other build series that you will have seen before. Certainly it will be totally different than anything we've done on this channel before. So before we explain more fully what is coming up in this build series, I'd like to introduce you to Stephen Payne. Over to you, Stephen.
Hello, my name is Stephen Payne and I'm a naval architect, and throughout my career I've designed passenger ships, and probably the most famous passenger ship that I've designed is this one, the Cunard flagship Queen Mary II.
So Stephen was involved with the original development of this kit, which is the one I've got here. This is the original release of the kit back in 2004. Now in 2019 Revell re-released this as a platinum kit, which included some photo etch and some wood overlay decks. What I will be doing is building the original plastic kit and using a combination of the aftermarket photo etch and decks and the photo etch that you get in the re-released version of the kit. I'll let Stephen tell you more about what we're planning.
Now, over the next few weeks I'm going to be working with Jason, and we're going to be working together to build the Revell 1:400 scale kit of Queen Mary II. And we're going to use my knowledge and experience of the ship to add a little bit more detail, perhaps correct some of the mistakes or the shortcomings where the moulding process doesn't quite capture the ship as we might want. And along the way I'm going to add various anecdotes and also give an explanation. Questions like, why has the ship got such a strange stern? Why has she got propulsion pods and not normal shaft lines? Why is the funnel so squat? So we'll be going through the building of the kit, and where appropriate we'll add in some of that information and anecdotes, and I hope it brings another dimension to the building of the kit. And I very much look forward to working with Jason and all of you that may be following and perhaps building the kit yourselves. And it should be a quite different experience.
So what we intend to do is take you through this build step by step. So in that build process, on top of what you get in the kit, we'll be using a combination of photo etch parts and scratch build parts to add details that either were never included or, because, as Stephen said, because of the moulding process, there were limitations on how that could be done. With each video there will be something from Stephen in the way of some design history or an explanation of why things are the way they are. And we may chuck in one or two fun facts and anecdotes along the way as well. So as many of you know who've been following this channel for any length of time, I have quite a passion for ships, and predominantly what we build on this channel is model ships. Now so far they have all been Navy ships, and there's two reasons for that. The first reason is I have a passionate interest in the military history of the 20th century, particularly the naval history of the 20th century, and that comes out of growing up with the Bismarck Hood story and with my involvement of my grandfather and his two brothers in the Navy from the mid-1930s. It's also a fact that there are many military ship kits around and not so many non-military, and particularly when you get to ocean liners there are very few kits ever been produced at a reasonably good scale, 1/350 scale or more. And so, yes, I have a Titanic in the stash, which we will build one day. This one is something I've had in the stash for a few years. So my passion for ocean liners has come out of the Titanic story, which captivated me as a schoolboy. I remember clearly turning to a page in a book on disasters and coming across the page on the Titanic and the imagery of a woman being past a baby in a lifeboat. It was all very dramatic, but that inspired me to find out more about the Titanic, and then that leads you into her sister ships, and that leads you into other ships involved in the story, the Carpathia, and other ships that are contemporary to Titanic, the Mauretania, and then you start to understand the White Star Line, Cunard, and then that develops into a broader interest into ocean liners, which has been with me as long as I can remember. And I've had an interest and a passion for ships almost as long as I've had a passion for building models. So let's hear from Stephen as to how it is that this ship came about.
Now, many people ask me, where did the story of Queen Mary II actually begin? And I like to think that it began on a cold September night, September the 25th, 1967, approaching midnight, when passengers sailing on a ship across the North Atlantic went up on deck, looked out across the horizon, and they saw a solitary red dot. And initially, they thought the red dot was the planet Mars or some other heavenly body. But as they focused their attention on the red dot, they realized that it was in fact another ship on a parallel but opposite course to their own. And within a few minutes, they could see that the red glow was attributable to 3 red and black funnels brightly illuminated by floodlights. And looking over their shoulder on the ship they were on, they could see that their ship had 2 red and black funnels that were similarly brightly illuminated. And that event, approaching midnight on September the 25th, 1967, was the last time the venerable Cunard liners Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth crossed in mid-Atlantic. And everybody said that that was the beginning of the end of the transatlantic crossing. Queen Mary was already sold to the city of Long Beach and would soon become a hotel museum out in California. The Queen Elizabeth would soldier on for 1 more year before she too would leave Cunard and be sold. And both those ships were to be replaced by a new ship, the new Queen Elizabeth II, that had had a protracted building at the John Brown shipyard at Clydebank. And everybody said, Cunard, the media, all the pundits, that when that ship, Queen Elizabeth II, had gone through her lifespan, that would really signal the end of the transatlantic ferry across the Atlantic. And what I like to think is that my colleagues at Cunard, my friends at the French shipyard that built Queen Mary II, and in fact my whole team that worked with me at the Carnival Corporate Shipbuilding Office, that we have collectively rewritten history. And when I give motivation and inspirational lectures to students in schools, I say to them that to be able to say that you've changed history through what you've done in life is a very powerful motivational thing that you can do. Now, from my own perspective, my interest in passenger ships began as a small schoolboy, coming home from school, switching on our grainy black and white television and watching Blue Peter. And on the 23rd of May, 1965, there was a programme all about the Queen Elizabeth. Two of the Blue Peter presenters, Valerie Singleton and Christopher Trace, they went on board the Queen Elizabeth in Cherbourg, did the short crossing back to Southampton, and they visited the galley, the engine room, the bridge, the public spaces, and I was in total awe of this. And I vowed then and started telling my parents and my school that when I grew up, I wanted to design something bigger and better than the Queen Elizabeth. And in fact, a few years later, when the Queen Elizabeth that had been sold and was rebuilding in Hong Kong as a floating university, when she caught fire and sank on the 9th of January 1972, Blue Peter was there with a satellite link, and they followed up with an article in the 1972 Christmas Blue Peter manual. And in fact, that article said that the Queen Elizabeth was the last of a great age, a superliner, and nothing like her will ever be built again. And in fact, that made me even more determined that when I grew up to design and build something bigger and better than the Queen Elizabeth. And in fact, Queen Mary too, behind us there, she's almost twice the size of that old Queen.
So next we'll be taking a closer look at this ship kit and doing a first impressions video. So the build episodes of this model will be coming along after we've done a first impressions video and after we've done a video on what paints will be required, so that if you're building along, you've got an opportunity to source those materials before we actually start showing you how we go around building this ship. So Stephen is a model builder too, and he will be building his Queen Mary 2 model in the background to help us work through what changes need to be made from his unique perspective of being the designer of the original ship. Now, at the same time that I'm building this, friend of the channel Peter at Oscale Modelling will be also building the Queen Mary 2 in 1:400 scale using the newer release kit, and he will be looking at trying to go about putting some lighting into it. So we will be checking in with Peter from time to time to see how he's progressing. We really hope that you're going to enjoy this and get something different out of this experience, and we'd love it if you came along with us and watched how we put this beautiful ship and really nice kit together. Thanks for looking in, everyone. Take care, and we will see you very soon. Alice, have you nicked my glue?